You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
The Trump deal nobody is talking about is hidden in plain sight, based on an article by Robert Wright. Trump's state capitalism is a protection racket. Quietly, the Trump regime has been turning federal leverage into ownership, conditions, and tribute across major corporations. Intel got converted from grant recipient to government-backed asset. Apple got a tariff exemption only after agreeing to funnel business toward Intel. Nvidia got access to China only after agreeing to hand over a cut of sales and invest in Intel. Materials and U.S. Steel were pulled into the same orbit. This is not some accidental drift in industrial policy. It is a power grab with a balance sheet. The state is the seller. The decisive actor here is not the market and not a confused set of executives. It is the White House with Howard Lutnick in the Commerce Department carrying out the machinery. Trump is using federal power to decide which firms get relief, which get punished, and which get folded into his preferred industrial hierarchy. That is the real arrangement: public power on top, private firms underneath, and everyone pretending this is just smart governance because the word security was attached to it. Public risk, private gain. The sauce calls this socialism, but the label matters less than the structure. The downside risk is socialized through grants, tariff policy, and national security exemptions. The upside is concentrated in a narrow circle of executives, investors, and the presidency itself. Intel's sudden resurgence is presented as a market story. It is also a political story about state intervention that props up a strategic firm, then uses that firm as leverage over rivals. That is not competition. It is managed dependency. Congress has been cut out. The most important fact in the piece is not the size of the deals. It is the absence of oversight. These decisions are being made with no meaningful congressional control and little public visibility. That is not a side effect. It is the point. Executive discretion is the asset here. Trump gets to decide who receives taxpayer-backed capital, who buys from whom, who gets access to China, and under what conditions. That is how patronage works when it has learned to speak the language of national security. Corporate America knows the score. The executives involved are not victims wandering into a misunderstanding. They are bargaining with a regime that can raise costs, impose tariffs, block exports, and reward compliance. Tim Cook and Jensen Huang did what powerful corporate leaders do when state coercion is on the table. They negotiated terms that protected their own firms. That is why the article's surface drama is misleading. This is not a story of reluctant cooperation. It is a story of elite accommodation to a presidency that has learned how to convert coercive authority into corporate obedience. The real pattern: Trump is building a political economy of selective favors, public entanglement, and personalized control. The rhetoric may be nationalism. The mechanism is dependency. The result is a government that does not regulate key industries from a distance, but inserts itself into their ownership and strategic decisions while preserving secrecy around the deal-making. This is what authoritarian capitalism looks like when it drops the pretense of neutrality. The state stops pretending to referee the game and starts taking positions on the board. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article with the automated voice of LJ. Thanks for listening.